Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about another character from Amazing Digital Circus by Glitch Productions. We are going to talk about Zooble. Very little has been said about this character due to his rare appearance in the pilot project, and even rarer appearance in the second episode, Candy Carrier Chaos. But despite this, I have a very surprising suggestion for you about Zooble. In my previous videos, I have already mentioned about an interesting and amazing feature of Zooble. If anyone hasn't watched my previous reviews, you should definitely check them out. They are as unusual and very interesting as this review. As always, I will leave the links in the description. And in this video, you will learn about new, very interesting features of Zooble. Watch until the end. It will be interesting. And we continue. If you remember, in my previous videos I speculated about who people were before they put on a VR headset and entered the digital circus as certain characters. So who was Zooble before she entered the digital circus? I think this person had a passion for construction. As a kid, he liked to build things out of children's constructors, and the very first constructor was probably the Zooble constructor given to him in his early childhood, which left the most vivid memory in his mind. The name Zooble is very similar to another well-known children's constructor, Zooble. Does this information make any difference in understanding a digital circus character named Zooble? I think it's the most important information. Why? You'll understand if you watch this video to the end. What else can be said about Zooble? There is information that the creators of the digital circus have not decided what gender Zooble is. But if we look closely at Zooble, we can see signs that it is a woman. I don't think it's a young woman. Why do I think that? Look, here we see Zooble has a head, body, arms, and legs. That's clear. But besides that, there is one pink wing that is not used as a wing. And then there's a blue round object that looks like a toy eye without a pupil or an earring for an ear. What is that? To understand, let's look at what Zooble looks like in the second episode of Candy Carrier Chaos. At this point, Zooble has a different item in the shape of a square with stripes. Zooble also has a different right leg, left arm, and a left object on his head. It is not clear what Zooble has on his head. Are they hairs, horns, or antennae? I suggest we call them hairs. In the result, we see that Zooble is a woman. She is always changing her clothes, her jewelry, and her hair. It seems to me that Zooble was a woman in her early 30s or 35s before she entered the digital circus. Despite being in the same situation as the rest of the characters, Zooble is absolutely not eager to be a part of Kane's adventures. We see how in the pilot, Kane talks Zooble into participating in the Gather the Gloinks. In the second episode, Candy Carrier Chaos, Kane again convinces Zooble to participate in the adventure. But Zooble is absolutely against it. She probably thinks Kane's adventures are childish pranks, and she doesn't like to participate in them at all. What's so unique about Zooble? Why is there a character here that doesn't participate in anything or want anything? You'll find out soon enough. In the meantime, let's take a closer look at Zooble. On the one hand, Zooble is often rude in her interactions with the other characters in the digital circus. Here she says to Jax, "Shut up, Jax." And here again to Jax, then to everyone else, "Speak for yourself. If anyone needs me, then she away." In this episode, in the Gloink Queen's nest, we see the Gloinks carrying Zooble's head for the Gloink Queen to eat. Zooble sees Jax, Kinger, and Gangle standing around doing nothing to save her. Apparently out of frustration, Zooble yelled, "Ah! Help me, you idiots!" at them. Yeah, she clearly lacks delicacy here. But on the other hand, Zooble treats everyone like a senior, and I would say with some care and love. Consider this. In the beginning, when POMNI first appeared on Digital Circus, Zooble answered all of POMNI's questions with one exact phrase, "Welcome to your new home, and your new body." And when Jax started to tell POMNI that there was no way out, Zooble stopped him by saying, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" In the episode where Jax, Kinger, Gangle, and Zooble were returning on the escalator, Zooble was the only one who asked where POMNI went. Wait, Pomni's not even here? Wasn't this whole thing for her? Then, already up, she voiced her regret about KAUFMO. Man, I can't believe KAUFMO just gave up like that. I mean, no offense, Kinger, but I always thought you would be next. And at the very end of the second episode of Candy Carrier Chaos, Zooble gave an impromptu funeral for the abstracted KAUFMO. It's a sad scene, but Zooble, like the other characters in the digital circus, believe that abstraction is the end. They believe that abstracted characters die, but I'll be sure to tell you about that in an upcoming video. Perhaps someone will be shocked by my assumption. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. And here we go. And here, I think we should note the absolute resilience of Zooble's psyche. She is clearly not one to abstract. She realizes, like everyone else, that there is no way out of the digital circus. She sees how others have abstracted. She doesn't participate in Kane's adventures. Remember Ragatha saying that they're just something fun to do to, prevent us from going insane. But Zooble doesn't need that. She won't go insane. She sees her body in a completely unusual way, yet she continues to keep an eye on her looks. We see her embrace the fact that she now has a new life in a new body. Now let's talk about the features of Zooble. I saw 2 features of Zooble. I have already talked about the first feature in my previous videos. I hope you have already watched them. If not, you should watch them. I will leave the links in the description. So what is the first feature of Zooble? It turns out that Zooble can be taken apart piece by piece, like a building block. And Zooble, or rather Zooble's head, will feel quite normal. But that's not all. Even when disassembled, Zooble can control her body parts from a distance. We saw when JAX ripped Zooble's arm off and defiantly scratched his back with it. At that moment, Zooble's removed arm grabbed JAX by the neck, almost strangling JAX. And after that, Zooble's arm returned to its place. And at the end of the episode, when the Gloinks took Zooble apart and dragged her into the hole, Kinger took only Zooble's head out of the Gloinks' hole. And after a while, the rest of Zooble's body parts reassembled themselves into a body, and that body came to Zooble's head and put her head back in place. It's unbelievable. It's Zooble's superpowers to control her body parts from a distance. Zooble cannot be taken apart. Her parts reassemble themselves back into Zooble. These abilities could be used for some purpose. I think Zooble doesn't realize this yet. She just controls her body parts and doesn't think that these superpowers could be used for any purpose. Someone should probably tell her about it. Who would that be? I'll tell you about it in another clip. And here is the second feature of Zooble. Remember at the beginning of this video I talked about who the person who put on the VR headset and entered the digital circus as Zooble might have been. I hypothesized that this person had a passion for construction. Or maybe it was a professional constructor. In that case, Zooble could have used her knowledge and experience as a constructor and constructed something. But why? And I will tell you about it in my next videos. Subscribe to my channel. Do not forget to put a like. In the next videos, you are waiting for new hypotheses and revelations. It will be even more interesting. Take care, and be always collected.